Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another video with your favorite engineer, this time for the first time on F1 23. Yes, the new game is just around the corner and we're going to take a first look at it. This is the starting screen right here. I think it looks quite good, certainly different to previous years. We're going to jump right in, and we also get these sequences in between. Oh, my controller's been disconnected. There we go. We are going to play a little bit, and we're going to do a cheeky time trial. With the F1 23 cars, the supercars are not in this build, but F2 cars from 2022 are, and the F1 23 cars are as well. We're going to choose the Alfa Romeo with equal performance on, and we are headed to Canada. These are my assists. So yes, I do still run medium traction control, ABS. You're not gonna get anything from me regarding no assists at all. I'm just not that good. Hope that's okay for you. This is Canada then. And the first thing you notice is it looks better. That yellow filter. Oh, yeah, hold on. Yeah, wow. Yeah, you're gonna notice the weight of the car. Also, this is locked to 100 degrees, which is nice. We're just gonna continue regardless. You really feel, oh, this is second gear, and I get a little bit of traction control kicking in, but it wasn't nearly as much as you would have had on F1 22. So this is a lot better already. So let's try to do our first proper lap. And the first thing you notice is that chicane, those curbs, are now a lot better to drive over than they were in previous years. Definite improvement there in Canada. It's not as painful as it used to be. And yeah, my lines are a bit shoddy. I'm still getting used to the new handling and to how heavy the car feels, because it really is different. We're heading through 6 and 7. Fourth gear, no problem. Granted, I do use medium traction control, but still, I didn't really feel the traction control kicking in too much there. And you can usually tell, there was traction control, but that was more my driving and taking some of the curves that I shouldn't have taken. So you got to be a lot more careful this year on curbs, on high curbs, I should say. On low curbs, you can just fly over these things. So they've really improved the way the floor handles, and they've improved. They've remodeled some of the curbs, at least here, I think around some other circuits as well. Made some flatter, made some higher, and it really is noticeable. So this lap will not be competitive, 13.3, and I'm way too late, so we're just going off the circuit here. But yeah, the one thing you notice immediately is it's very much a heavier car, and you can feel the car just working around the corners. I really like it. I like the new handling. It's a lot better than previous years. Certainly a lot better than last year, which I think was a bit of a low point in F1's franchise history. So this is looking up. I'm gonna try to do one more, but I think this is about the best I can do. I'm not that good on this game. That's why I commentate and engineer people, because I'm not that good as a driver, quite frankly. I also don't change the brake bias or the differential simply because a lot of things are working differently this year. For those of you who are setup nerds and really want to sort out their setups, I'm going to show you something that's also very important for you to know. As we return to the garage, if we look into the setups, fuel stays the same between 5 and 110 kilograms, with 10 being the normal fuel load for time trial, and you can't change that. Wings stay from 0 to 50, transmission stays from 50 to 100%. Suspension geometry, I think there are some minor changes here. Yeah, this used to be from 0, 0, 0, or I'm not sure actually. Yeah, no, this used to go from 0.05 to 0.15. So they've sort of moved that a little bit to the left, basically. This used to be the previous one. 0.05 used to be the minimum. You can't even choose 0.15 anymore. And for the rear toe, I think this has changed as well in two ways. One, it now has 21 different options going from 0.1 to 0.3. And it used to be 0.2 to 0.3. So they've opened this up to the left as well, but kept everything to the right. So we just get more options, which is nice. Front and rear camber, I think they've stayed the same. Although, no, they haven't. They've moved those as well from 2.5 maximum to now 2.5 minimum. And I think from 1 maximum to 1 minimum. So a lot has changed here, but the big one is right here. Look at this. Front suspension, 41 different options. Rear suspension, 41 different options. Anti-roll bar, 21. Ride height, 21. It's no longer from 1 to 11. That's now from 30 to 50. Where I would basically say that what used to be 1 now is 30. What used to be 11 now is 50. And effectively what was 6 is now 40. So you can just translate that. But does it really translate? That's the main question. I think that's for the setup gurus to find out. No changes here for brake pressure. Although, no, brake pressure minimum 80%. You can't change it that much anymore. And brake bias stayed the same, 70 to 50. But now the tire pressures. That's another big one. At first glance, you might think, well, nothing's changed there. What are you talking about? Well, a little bit has changed. First off, they've, again, allowed more to the left to minimum tire pressure. So we went from 22.5 to 22 as the minimum for the fronts, and from 20.5 to 20 for the rears. But as you just saw, as I'm clicking through, it's not in 0.25 steps anymore. It's in 0.1 steps. So you can be a lot more granular with your tire pressures, and it makes a lot more sense. The one thing it's missing that I would have loved to see is allowing different tire pressures for different tire compounds. That would have been incredibly nice to have, because that's something teams can do IRL. They can take, you know, 3 sets of softs, give them like minimum tire pressures, and they can then take mediums and give them a bit more, and take hards and give them a bit more, and take inters and give them even more, and take the full wets and give them even more, because you do need a bit higher pressures in wet conditions as the temperatures aren't that high. So we can't do that, unfortunately. All you would have to do basically is above these two, add a thing tire compound, and then you can switch that through, and as that changes, the pressures change. I don't think it would be difficult. Hopefully for F1 24 we're gonna see that, but that's something that I've been missing a little bit. Other than that though, a lot more room for setups, especially the suspension. That is where a lot of people are probably gonna spend a lot of time trying to find the right suspensions, the right anti-roll bars, the right ride heights. So very exciting stuff indeed. Another thing to note, and I'm going to go into Grand Prix mode for this. We're going to show off both things. I'm going to show off more videos, so if you want to check those out, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button for plenty more F1 23 videos. We'll be going in depth on how the controller feels. We'll be going in depth on things like strategy, because there is something in the game. You're going to have to wait for a new video for that. So as we're going into the Grand Prix mode, we are going to head to Canada in the F1 23 cars with Alfa Romeo. I'm going to choose equal performance on. The reason for that is the performance of the cars isn't final in this version, so it would be wrong of me to show off, because you would get an idea of, oh, this is how the cars are going to be in terms of performance, and that's not how they're going to be in performance. That's something that Cody's and EA usually work on the last, just before release. We're going to take Shanghai Tiger himself, Zhou Guanyu. Difficulty, I'm going to set, 90's all right. Weekend structure, we're going to take 50% race. We're not going to do the new 35%. I think that's going to be for another video. And in terms of weather, we're going to take clear. And no formation lap needed. Yes, surface and carcass is very important for what I'm going to show off real quick. And here we are then, sunny and warm Canada. And yeah, the first thing I want to show you is the tires. The soft tires last a lot longer now. This is for 50% race, and they do last a lot longer. So instead of what was it, like 10 laps, 11 laps, they now last 15. The mediums last 21, the hards last 24. There's not much difference between the mediums and hards. The softs don't last nearly as long, but yeah, it basically makes all three viable. It makes all three, soft, medium, and hard, viable at this point. Really like that, really enjoy that. First off, you're noticing the wheel looks different now. We've got overtake, 100%, throttle brake on the right and the left. Yeah, cold tires, but look at this. The surface actually is on 60 degrees, but look at how quickly the tire warms up. 76, 77 already after just a couple of corners. If you remember in F1 22, it took a lot longer. Braking also puts a lot of temperature into the tires. If I just hold the brakes, look at how much brake temperature there is, and it warms up the tires. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to be that quick, but still. Tire warm up, and ladies and gentlemen, for safety car restarts, that's going to be a blessing for everyone, I reckon. Look at this. All you have to do is a little bit of brake dragging, and you immediately get the tires up to 90 degrees. Let's do a normal safety car lap. So I'm going to slow down here. Again, braking puts a lot of temperature into the tires, which is nice. And we're just going to go really slowly here. We're going to accelerate at like 40, 50, 60%. And then we're going to let the car roll. You're still not losing temperature, really, if we're completely honest. Even going as slowly as I am, you're losing a little bit, but the tires will be warm on a restart, guaranteed. At least the softs will be. Can't speak for mediums and hards right now. Yeah, now you're okay, now we're losing a little bit. Now that we're actually driving like this, you're actually losing temperature quite a bit. Even still, the rears are at 81, 82. That's one lap under the safety car with no tire warm-up. But effectively, what I'm trying to say, the tire warm-up is going to be a lot easier now and a lot quicker as well. So that's a good thing, in my opinion. So they're not gripping anymore. So if I restarted like this, it'd be bad. What I was explaining earlier, put some temperature into the brakes. This is the sort of stuff you only learn on this channel right here. This is why you should subscribe. But yeah, tire temperature is no longer an issue. I'm gonna head back to the garage, see if this works with the hard tires as well. Because the softs, obviously, they get up to temperature fairly easily. They're not an issue. The hard tire, on the other hand. One thing I didn't show off, by the way, but I can tell you right now is the case, is that the soft tire also has a higher ceiling on the temperature. So it's not gonna be 102, 103 degrees where it starts overheating. It's now more like 107, 108, 109. You see how quickly this warms up as well. We're already on 78. 79 on the rear left. It's starting to go green now. It is green at 80, so it's still green at 80. Nothing's changed there. You just have to give a little bit of a push, and all of a sudden the rear tires are definitely keeping temperature. But yeah, as I just roll like this, the fronts are now dead cold. They are now incredibly cold. It's incredible. You don't have to warm up the tires as much anymore if you just brake drag a little bit. So what you want to do to put energy into the tires is either do this, a little bit of fishtailing here, but even that doesn't do it. It's really braking. Brake temperature warms the tires, ladies and gentlemen. Use that knowledge to your advantage. Brake dragging, and immediately we're up to temperature. The tracks that are the best in terms of tire warm-up are going to be the tracks that have a lot of heavy braking zones early on in the lap. Bahrain, that turn 1 is going to warm up the tires nicely. Turn 4 as well. Monza, 2 big chicanes. Abu Dhabi with the hairpin. But yeah, that is the first look at F1 23. So what we find out is the F1 23 is a quite interesting game in terms of the new handling model, in terms of the new physics model. The surface temperature really only goes high if you put a lot of load on the tire in a corner, meaning high-speed corners generally. Low-speed corners, the surface temperature doesn't really go up. But what does go up in low-speed corners, because they are usually preceded by heavy braking zones, is the brake temperature. The brake temperature will then translate into the carcass temperature. So you want to warm up your tires, you put some temperature into the brakes. Brake dragging on a safety car restart, on an out lap, that is your new tire warming method. Whether that's realistic or not remains to be seen, and people will have opinions in the comments, I know that for sure, but feel free to express those comments. Let me know what you think of this kind of handling. Let me know what you think of F1 23 in general. Are you excited for the game? Are you looking forward to it? Have you pre-ordered it already? Are you waiting, which is the sensible thing to do, to see what the game actually holds? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more F1 23 content when the game comes out. And with that, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.